I'm Joe Jaquin, CEO of the Patriot Trading Group, and our toll-free number 800-951-0592, the website at allamericangold.com. And oh man, what a week it's been. It is Friday, it's Jobs Day. We'll talk about that. Not a great number. Not a great jobs number today. We'll get to that in a minute. We had the governor of Arizona out this week and was talking about whether Arizona going to shut down. Not yet. He allowed for all the restaurants to have outdoor dining without a permit. So, there's places they don't have a patio, let's say. So they can go out to their parking lot and do what they like without having to have a permit. And so yesterday, I went and I was talking to, I've got several friends that own restaurants and bars. So I talked to them. Hey, what did you think? And it was very funny because most of them were happy because they were worried it was going to be, hey, we're going to shut down. But the overwhelming theme of it all was, well, it wasn't like I was having to tell people to wait for a table, right? Because, right now here in Arizona, restaurants are at 50%, I believe, 50% capacity. But it was like, hey, I don't have it's not like I've turned people away. I want to come and sit down and eat. So having the ability to have outdoor seating for the ones that didn't have it, really not much of a game changer. We'll have to wait and see. Of course, it beats all the other places shutting down. I talked to my mom the other day. Of course, she's in Syracuse. They shut all the gyms again. The hair salons are closed again. The barber shops are closed again. We'll play a clip from this morning, CNBC. They were doing the thing about the jobs thing, and a huge argument broke out. And I've been saying this all along. I don't understand the lack of freedom that is going on in this country. I don't get it. Listen, COVID, it's a bad deal, right? Call it what it is. People are sick. People are dying. But that happens every day anyway, right? When you look at the deaths in the country, there's no more deaths this year than there was last year. There isn't. Now, then again, if you feel unsafe, don't go out, right? Everybody's wearing masks. I don't understand this mask. I heard the president-elect, everyone's going to have to wear a mask for 100 days. Where are people not wearing masks? I mean, let's face it, you can't go into the stores without one. Can't go into the restaurants without one. I guess, even with all the mask wearing, it hasn't stopped this thing. But I don't know. It's one of those things, today's jobs number, it was that bad that it's concerning now. This thing's going to cost a lot more money. That's just what it's going to be. I mean, we needed to see job creation, somewhere between 600,000 to 800,000 a month. You got to remember, every week. Even last week, we had the jobless claims number yesterday, still 712,000, even with Thanksgiving last week. So, they weren't even processing them all every day. We only had 245,000 jobs created. That would have been a bad number for November in a regular year, because of all of the, quote unquote, holiday hiring and stuff like that. Only 245,000. So I don't know. It's just, it's a lot to try to figure out how this is going to work. And then, of course, Everyone has seen. Have you seen the video in Georgia, right, with the ballots? I'm going to talk about that as well. Brian Kilmeade had a great guest on 1360 before this. Wasn't quite what it appeared in a brilliant play by the Democrats. A brilliant play by the Democrats. And I'll explain that in the next segment. So if you haven't seen the video in Georgia, there was one of the counties, they were doing the count, said, hey, we're stopping counting for the day, and all the media left, and the people watching the ballot counting left. And then all of a sudden, there's this closed caption video, and they pull out what most of the media, they're calling them these suitcases full of ballots, and apparently kept counting behind a closed door. So I'm gonna further what I've learned about it, and it's very troubling to me because it's not. First of all, I don't like it. As far as Donald Trump and all these irregularities, it's not a good look. For Georgia, it's not a good look. But now I'm worried that maybe it may have a completely different effect and how it could change the future of this country. This is coming up next. Patriot Radio News Hour. Don't touch that dial. 800-951-0592. Patriot Radio News Hour on a Friday. Listen, I don't want to anger people. I support the president. I thought he did great things for this country. Do I wish his personality was different? I do. But some of it, here's the problem. You can't pick and choose. You got to take the good with the bad. I mean, is he a narcissist of epic proportions? Yes, but he's always been that. I mean, look at the Trump brand and all that. Had the TV show. I mean, he's a character. But when it came to business, he was pretty smart. And there were a lot of good things that happened up until COVID came. I mean, you could argue, at least from the numbers. Now, granted, all of these numbers are so massaged and everything else, but it was impressive what he did. Now, he did it while the budget deficits were skyrocketing. So, you can't, again, the good with the bad. And then because of COVID, everything changed. I have no doubt in my mind that without COVID, Donald Trump was the president again. You think about things, Joe Biden didn't even campaign. And, of course, it limited Trump's ability to campaign. And of course, debates. And then they allowed for all the, you could vote for like a month, right? All these things. And we have all of these very close races in 5-6 states. They're super close. And, you're seeing all the imperfections in the election system. We're seeing it. From the Dominion voting machines to ballots not being counted to the little memory sticks disappearing or reappearing, votes, ballots being found, ballots being dated or post-dated potentially, right? We got all these wrinkles. But as I've told you, I don't think it's possible that Trump is going to be able to prove in enough states to win. that Biden's going to win because the election laws are very, very clear. You can show well, here's example A. And that example, I gained 800 votes. And here's example B, and I gained 400 votes. And here's example C, and I gained 1,200 votes. And here's example, D, and I gained 35 votes. And here's example E, and I gained 500 votes. The problem is you've got to be able to go to the court and say, I've got enough evidence that I can overturn the difference of the election. In other words, take Arizona as an example. He's got to come and have 13,000 examples of voter fraud that were against him. Our governor's already certified the election because didn't get to that number. Was there voter fraud? Yeah. Was it enough to change the outcome? Well, and I'll say this: not that he can prove, and that's the point. Was there enough? You know what? In my personal opinion, I think there is. Can we prove it? I don't think we can. Now let's go to the Georgia deal because that was really bad looking, and of course it just happened, here this week. And of course I'm thinking, well, what took so long for that to come out, right? But timing is everything. So, in Georgia, we have the two runoffs. These two runoffs for the Senate, it is close. Way closer than I thought it would be. And again, if the Democrats win both seats in this special election a month from today, they'll control the House and the Senate. Period. Now, in this video, like I said before, they show the people at the polling station for this county telling everybody we're closing for the day. We're stopping the count. Blah, blah, blah. The media left. The counters left. The video shows 4 people. And they pull out what they're saying. They pulled out these suitcases from underneath the table. Right now, that sounds and looks extremely shady. He's right. I was telling my wife, I'm like, that's not a good look. And of course, I immediately told her, I go, it's still not going to change anything. Which she got, and my wife still thinks Trump's going to pull it out here, and I don't. I want him to. Believe me, all of you out there, I want it to be true as well. But you got to be able to prove, and the amount of votes you've got to be able to prove, very difficult. You can't say, well, listen, I proved. Let's just take Arizona. Let's just say, hey, I proved 8,000. Just imagine if you let me dig really into this, I bet you I can prove the other 5. That's not good enough. Nope, not good enough. What if you prove 10,000? Still not good enough. Got to get to that number. Got to be more than the number. It can't be, well, I've already proved this. If you just let me go into every, nope. Doesn't work that way. Now, we can argue whether that's right or wrong, but you got to change the law then. Back to Georgia. Those were not suitcases, first of all. That is actually how the ballots came in that the box that looked like a suitcase. That was what they were. They were legitimate boxes of ballots. They were under the table. Okay. Weird. Why would you have that? Well, come to find out, everybody was worried about having these quote unquote suitcases out in the open where somebody could tamper with them. So they actually moved them under the table. So that part of it, not quite as shady as the video makes it appear. But then they go behind closed doors. Now, let me say this. Georgia election laws, what they did was not in accordance to the law. They should have never have kicked everybody out. They should have, if they were going to keep counting, everyone should have been allowed to stay, and it should have been in the open, period. According to the people that were there, they did have one observer stay. That observer was not on camera, but was allegedly in that room behind the closed door where they counted the rest of the ballots. Again, not a good look for Georgia. It's not a good look. I don't know why they did it, too. It just seemed like it made no sense to me at all on what the purpose was. But you don't get to see everything that's on camera. So here's my point. My point is, once again, probably not going to be the big gotcha moment for Georgia. And again, won't be able to prove, hey, here's 13,000 votes. I don't know. I don't know what the difference is in Georgia. But the things that you won't hear will be things like, well, let me come forward. The person who was there watching the counting has already talked to the people there, blah, 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 blah. Okay? But what it really has done, it's disenfranchised a lot of voters in Georgia. Matter of fact, a lot of Republicans are telling people not to vote in this special election come the 4th of January. That would be horrendous. That would be horrendous. And I hope the president's going to be there this weekend, and I hope beyond hope he tells them to get out there and vote. We need every Republican to show up and vote. I think the best thing that we could hope for is because of what the president is doing when it comes to the election, that states do a better job. And that as people that elect our elected officials, we hold them accountable to do a better job. Right here in Arizona, if we got Dominion voting machines, spend the money, get a different company. Get a better one. Enforce the laws that you have. Right? How about that one? Right? You know, and we know there's plenty of examples. Oh, we didn't double verify the signatures, or we didn't do this and that and blah, blah, blah. And we allowed for people to vote after the fact, or we allowed them to vote weeks early. All that. Make it better. Because if we don't make it better and we don't have faith in elections, we're going to have revolution. I mean, that's just what's going to happen. We need for everybody in this country to feel like, hey, when I vote, it's counted. When I vote legally, it's counted, and anything that's illegal doesn't get counted. And we've heard voter fraud for decades. Dead people voting multiple times. I mean, this isn't new. And matter of fact, not only is it not new, it's been proven over and over and over again, and yet they've done nothing. And now here we are in this mess. And now I'm sitting there and I'm seeing that Georgia video. I'm thinking, oh, my Lord. This is the worst thing that could happen to the Republicans. Because what will it do? It will definitely sway a lot of people. Yeah, I'm not voting again. You know what? It doesn't. They lie, cheat, and steal, and you throw your hands up. If they win both seats, the Democrats win both seats, they've got the majority now because it's 50-50, and the tiebreaker goes to Kamala Harris. So we'll see what the president does this weekend. And I guess the fear is, and I agree with this. If the president is all about they stole the election and it was rigged, and I think that's going to hurt. He needs to encourage these people to vote. It's interesting. It's wrong what happened, but at the same time, not as wrong as it appeared to be. I don't know. When we get back, we're going to go back and do what we do best. We're going to talk about jobs. No, sir. 800-951-0592. So I just had to do it. And I don't need to get emailed by people, oh, you're wrong. And this. No. There was absolutely voter fraud. There was. Can he prove enough of them in enough states to win? And I just don't think that he can. Right? We've already certified the elections here. Georgia, they just recertified again. Now, the video, will it change things? I don't know. But again, Georgia's not enough. I'm more worried now about this special election, and I hope that the Republicans don't get disenfranchised and not show up to vote. And I think that's a real problem. And I think it's by no accident that this video's out now here a month away from the election, and you're starting to get, and again, I get it. People get excited. They start saying crazy stuff and telling people not to vote. I mean, that can't be the message. I guess that's my point, because I heard more than one Republican out there telling people in Georgia, Republicans in Georgia, not to vote. That cannot be the message. And if it is, we got bigger problems than that. Again, though, hey, here's the sad part. It'll be great for me. And my business will be great. We don't want that. Anyway, enough of that. Jobs today. So, as most of you know, because I educate you, there's two different surveys at play in the government's jobs number, right? The first is where the government comes out and they say, hey, we created or we lost X amount of jobs in a month, right? And that's the Bureau of Labor Statistics. They tell you that number. Now, they were expecting a number of around 500,000, which still wouldn't have been a great number. It was a 480-some thousand, which still wasn't going to be great. It came in at 245,000, so really not good, especially in light of all the jobs that had been lost. But then there's a second survey. It's called the Household Survey. And this is where you get all the unemployment data and all of that stuff. But that survey said that the country lost 74,000 jobs in the month. So we had somewhere between negative 74,000 to 245,000 jobs created. And again, with computers, it'd be easy to get you an exact number, but they don't want us to know an exact number. But somewhere in that parameter, which really isn't a good look. They were debating the numbers on CNBC this morning, and I just want to play a clip. Andrew Ross Sorkin and Rick Santelli got into a huge shouting match on TV this morning about the shutdowns and all the ramifications of it. Ramon, let's play that clip.
Rick, I just wanted to just highlight something that the background of this whole discussion comes with what we're seeing in terms of COVID cases. And we're seeing, maybe stimulus, but we're seeing calls for not necessarily closing things down, but certainly there are some calls to closing down, except for the politicians themselves. But for their constituents, they're talking about, they need to be much more careful. We're hearing, right?
Yes, no, believe me, I believe in careful. And when I point out governors cheating, it's not for the hypocrisy which exists. It's the fact that I think many of these governors are intelligent people and they love their families, which they've taken out into restaurants. Therefore, there is actually and should be an ongoing debate as to, why a parking lot for a big box store like by my house is jam-packed. Not one parking spot open. Why are those people any safer than a restaurant with plexiglass? I just don't get it. And I think there's a million of these questions that could be asked. And I think it's really sad that when we look at the service sector and all the discussions we've had about job losses, that particular dynamic isn't studied more, isn't worked more. We don't put more people in the room and try to figure out ways so that these service sector employees and employers could all come back in a safer way. You can't tell me that shutting down, which is the easiest answer, is necessarily the only answer.
Rick, I just as a public health and public service announcement for the audience, the difference between a big box retailer.
Who is this?
Hold on. The difference between it's Andrew.
Who else?
The difference between a big box retailer. Hold on. The difference between a big box retailer and a restaurant, or frankly even a church, are so different. It's unbelievable. Going into a big box retailer,
I disagree.
You're wearing a mask.
You can have your thoughts, and I can have mine.
You're required to wear a mask.
I disagree.
It's science. I'm sorry. It's science. If you're wearing a mask,
science.
It's a different story.
500 people at a Lowe's aren't any safer than 150 people in a restaurant that holds 600. I don't believe it. Sorry. Don't believe it. And I live in an area where there's a lot of restaurants that have fought back, and they don't have any problems. And they're open.
Okay. You don't have to believe it. But let me just say this. You're doing a disservice to the viewer because the viewers need to understand it.
You are doing a disservice to the viewer. You are. You are.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. If I would like to keep our viewers as healthy as humanly possible. The idea of packing people into restaurants.
I think our viewers are smart enough to make part of those decisions on their own. I don't think that I'm much smarter than all the viewers like some people do.
Can I get in here, please, and get back to the jobs report?
How's that working out for you, Rick? How's it all working out for you? I mean, look at the numbers, Rick.
It's working out fine.
I think the numbers, Rick, belie Rick. The numbers show that the idea of let it rip has not worked all that well.
And people are getting sick and dying.
I understand it. Rick.
I just think the way we deal with it isn't necessarily optimal. I think if we spent the rest of the show talking about this, there would be no agreement. So let's move on from here.
Listen, this is it, right? And again, I'm going to tell you right now, everybody's wearing a mask. Everybody. You can't get into a place without one. What's the difference? And I said yesterday, you're doing people a disservice and it's the science. Well, the science says that about 4% of COVID cases are coming from restaurants. About 2.5 times that amount are coming from big box retailers. So where's the science? Right? And nobody's talking about packing people into restaurants. I mean, they're only allowed between 25 and 50%. And again, it's one of these things that believe me when I tell you, the economic ramifications from all of this are going to be very, very expensive. Very expensive. The states need money. They're all running out of money. Arizona today announced, hey, we're out of rental assistance money and all these other things and people not paying their bills. I don't know. Pretty good argument, though, isn't it? Patriot Radio News Hour. We'll be back after the break. 800-951-0592. Challenger Gray and Christmas. Remember, they tracked the large layoffs. Said job cut notifications from companies up 45% in the month of November, saying that the so far this year, wow, I'm just doing some quick math in my head. Job cut announcements, layoff announcements are up 400% from where they were in 2019. And Challenge of Grain Christmas, just, where we're talking about different sectors, and obviously the service sector, the bars, the restaurants, the hotels. Think about, so one guy's saying, hey, the reason why a Target can stay open, but does Target need to be open? I mean, I can understand the Walmart where that's really a supermarket, right? Which not all the Walmarts are, but the ones, a lot of them are just as much a supermarket as anything else. And right, you can understand, okay, Safeway's open and Kroger's or Fry's and Walgreens and CVS because you got to get your prescription. You can make, okay, I get that. Because you got to eat. But do we have to fly on an airplane? Right? I mean, if these guys, because I'm on Rick Santelli's side, the science doesn't back up that you're more at risk at a restaurant than you are at a Walmart. The math doesn't work. But they're saying, well, you have a mask on. That's the difference. Where you go to a restaurant, you take your mask off. Of course, the restaurants all got this plexiglass, Vegas, right? So according to these guys, right, Vegas should be closed, right? All hotels should be closed, all of them, right? Because you take your mask, get your room, take your mask off. I guess it's got to be closed, right? The airline's got to be closed. Well, you know what? People got to eat. I mean, it's already bad enough. You got to show up 2 hours before your flight leaves, right? And if people are eating, you got to take your mask off to eat. So we got to close it all, right? I mean, me personally, that'd probably be the better answer. You can't pick winners or losers. Either everybody loses or everybody wins, period. And what I mean by everybody wins is, hey, you stay open. If you're uncomfortable, don't go. Right? Don't go. We know the risk. But you can't tell one guy you can't provide for your family. I don't understand in America today where I firmly, and I've said this all along, firmly, most people want to work. Most people want to be productive members of society. I know we all know there's a percentage that don't. Right, and again, part of the problem of rewarding failure, right? Rewarding failure, this is what you get. You get people that are like, okay, well, I'm just going to live off the system. But the vast majority of Americans, they want to go to work. They want to be able to provide for their family. And by and large, that's exactly what was happening. And I know, look at, Wall Street's at 30,000. So, what's really happening out there, and I've been talking to a lot of people this week because it's been weird this week. Dead everywhere. There's a bunch of used car guys in where my offices are. I talked to a couple of them yesterday. They're like, it's dead. People are like, forget about people not calling us. They're not even going out to our website. We're not even getting any hits. Right? My buddies at the restaurant said, man, it's gotten slow again. And I think, you know what? People are out of money. Right? Sooner or later, right? You can't have 20 million people not working and not have there be an effect for that. Today, driving to work was creepy because the freeway, they're not anywhere close to where they were, but they were filling back up again. As I'm driving into work and driving home from work. today, and I left, I'm on the freeway, between 6 and 6:30 in the morning. So traffic's not super congested. But it's been getting more and more crowded. 3 months ago, I could drive semi-cruise at 77 and never take it off. I haven't been able to do that for at least a couple of months now because, there's too much traffic even then. This morning, it was empty. It was weird. I don't know. Has everyone got the day off today that I don't know about? But it was just weird. And I'm hoping it's just one of those things that people spend a bunch of money over on Thanksgiving and whatnot, and it's just a little pause. But if it's more than that, it's going to be very, very sad to see how many more companies go out of business. And Challenger Gray and Christmas saying, listen, the layoff notices are not letting up. I don't know. We just got to get the thing back open. I mean, that's just what it's got to be. But anyway, who knows, right? Weird day. Patriot Radio News Hour, final segment coming up. Eight 800-951-0592. We've got, yesterday we were running those $10 Liberties. And they're still the best deal. I didn't sell all of them, sold most of them, but we still got 43, I'm sorry, I'm reading Arlene's note, 43 $10 Liberties. We were running them at 1,030. That's less than 20. Believe it or not, gold's actually down $4. Prices are up. And we've been knowing, and I've been telling you this. Listen, there's just not a lot of gold out there. Silver's actually higher today. Silver's up about 10 cents, $24.17. And gold's, like I said, down $4 at 18.33. 800-951-0592. Of course, it's been a big week for gold. Big week. Silver's up 7% on the week. Gold's up like $80-something just since Monday. The dollar, remember, the dollar broke down and is now sitting at 90 and a half, 90.5. But all indications, the stimulus talk, Nancy Pelosi just came out and said, well, we're a little closer to a deal. And based on these bad jobs numbers, the Republicans better smarten up, right? Because, they want trillions. And also something we didn't, and I meant to get to it, and then the thing with the Georgia thing and all that, China, who, by the way, should be held accountable for this whole thing, but are not going to be. It's now official. They are the largest trading partner for the entire European Union now. They've banned in terms of stuff for a while, but now even in dollar terms, nobody does more trade with the European Union than the Chinese. That's been something where the United States had always been the leading trading partner for the EU. That is now gone, and it's gone in dollar terms. So that's a big deal because it was already the largest in terms of stuff. But now in actual value, China's more important to Europe than we are. China's more important than Australia than we are. China's more important than pretty much everybody. And I bring it up because the farther we go down this cesspool of debt, the worse it's going to be. And, of course, I've been telling you, listen, China, the president had it right. They are public enemy number one. They want to dethrone the dollar. That's their game. They want to call the shots as far as how the world does it. And now the latest data now saying that China has surpassed the United States, and that the trade between China and Europe rose another 3% during the COVID era. And they now are trading more dollars. Right now, they passed the U.S. by $5 billion a month and rising. So at what point, hey, at $10 billion a month, at $20 billion a month, $30 billion a month, at what point does the economic sway that goes along with it have an effect? And again, it just means these nations are going to buy less treasuries. That's what it means. They're going to diversify into that renminbi. The dollar is heading lower and a lot lower. Get that gold put away. 800-951-0592. God bless everybody. Good luck to all the football teams in the high school playoffs. Go Saints. We'll be back on Monday.